All right, welcome back. Now, Senate President Bukola Saraki has declared his intention to run for the presidency of this country in 2019. It's not a surprise at all. When he defected from the ruling All Progressives Congress to the PDP, a lot of people said it then. Some of us actually saw it. Some of us thought one of the reasons why he defected was because he knew he was not going to get the ticket under the platform of the APC, and that it might just be easier for him to get the ticket under the platform of the PDP. And then in recent days, we've seen the Senate President crisscross the length and breadth of this country, well, if you like, consulting now with former President. As a matter of fact, he met with former President Goodluck Jonathan, someone he strongly and stubbornly criticized while he was president. And, well, now he's declared his intention to run, and he's not the only one. It's not the only one. Quite a number of them who defected or who have returned to the PDP have also declared their intention to run. We have Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso is running. The former vice president of the country, Atiku Abubakar, is also running. So it's quite a huge presidential field now in the PDP. Liberals, you look at what we have in the PDP. It's like you have two blocks emerging. The block of those who stayed back when the ship was being rocked. And then you have the block of those who jumped over when the ship was going through a very turbulent sea. And both you have those two blocks now contesting, fighting for the ticket of the party. What do you think could happen? The Senate President is now there.
First and foremost,
it's not a surprise.
No, not
is it
at all.
that the Senate President has declared his intention to run?
No. It's not. Because when all of them were jumping ship, one thing was obvious, that they were jumping ship because there was no vacancy in APC. Just the same way in 2015, there was no vacancy in PDP for anybody. So anybody that was looking for the candidate, people like Rabiu Kwankwaso and co, they needed to find alternative platform. That it was so bad that PDP refused to send forms to any other person. You know, so that's the same thing that happened with the APC. And so when you saw all of them defect, for the Senate President, he could say, because of the troubles and problems he had with his party, but we knew that those were secondary. But one big issue, if I were the Senate President, that I would not gloss over, is the issue of identity. I had expected, before then, I had expected that, the larger than life image that the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, has, it's not, a run-of-the-mill candidate that you think anybody can just come and take the ticket from. And so for you to be able to defeat such a candidate, you would need, you don't need to spread the votes. You need a consolidation. And so one would have expected that all of this declaration here and there, that if truly they are interested in that #1 seat, there should be a synergy, a consolidation of effort.
You don't think eventually we would have that synergy?
Because the kind of people
with super egos.
Yes, exactly. So you said it already. The kind of people we see now are people who, if they don't achieve their aim under one platform, they don't mind destroying that platform and moving to the next. It's all about them.
And these two blocks, do you think at some point there might be?
I also see, and then there might not be. Because the problem
when you look at it,
it depends.
Between the two blocks, which do you think will prevail eventually?
It depends on,
because it appears these guys who have just come in.
It depends on the finances that is available. Because if you remember, after the 2015 election, one would have expected that the PDP would, sit back, take stock of what happened. Rather, they were looking for a money bag to hand the party over to. That was what led them to Modu Sheriffs and the crisis they eventually had. So in the same vein, it's so obvious that a party that had ruled for 16 years didn't even have, a backbone, to fall back on the moment they lost election. And so they're now looking for people to finance elections. And so that's how Wike was also able to hijack, the party the way he's done. Coupled with the fact that now you have some money bags who've been in the ruling party, who's been relevant, who are coming on board. And they are going to, in PDP, one good thing about it is the fact that it belongs to nobody. And so, for the time that you are in power, you will be able to hold forth. And then, depending on how much you are able to spend. Out of power, and when you're out of power, then you lose influence. And so that's what's going to play out, depending on who's able to spend the cash more, and then who's able to connect, strongly with the forces that stayed back. I'm talking about the weak forces that, mind you, Fayose will still be out of power. And
he's been quiet. I mean, after losing that
definitely,
election,
after losing the election, like I said, yeah. So now he's almost on his way out. And don't be surprised too if you hear that he has defected tomorrow. He will be pointing to you, PDP ruined this country for 16 years.
Another thing I have to ask you, you look at, I mean, you look at that presidential field and the PDP. One thing is certain: only one person can be the candidate.
Yeah,
only one person. And you think, I just might be wrong, but I want you to just weigh in. What I think is, and what I see is, after the primaries, you will still have some candidates or aspirants who would definitely defect to other political parties to pick up their tickets, because some of these candidates actually want to run.
Some of them will tell you that their name must be on the ballot. It's all about, their name being on the ballot. And so, if at the end of the day they don't get, you have YPP, you have all kinds of PPs everywhere. And so, if their name, if they don't get a ticket in PDP, you still have some that will leave PDP and move to the next. But one thing they don't understand is that Nigerians have come of age, and they know the desperate ones. And that's one thing that have consistently worked against Atiku. This desperation
he said he's not desperate. But
that's
to turn Nigeria around.
We have, so that's like I always say, I take politician statement with a pinch of salt. You don't expect them to admit these things, but fact speaks for itself, like we say. And so you see him, at a point when people were seeing him as the face of opposition, when he was the vice president, and with the kind of court judgment he got against Obasanjo, and then the next thing, boom, he moved back into PDP. And then only for him to leave PDP, join the forces with APC. While consolidating, I expected at that level, you remain as an elder statesman and begin to groom successors and give advice. Now he's back because he knows that it's difficult for him to get a ticket in APC. He's moved back to PDP. And he was the first to move. But forgetting that
also... that's an advantage?
No, not at all.
It would be an advantage in the primaries?
Not at all. Because everybody that is also moving, they are also coming for the same thing that you're going there for. So PDP now is like, is the floating barge that everybody can jump onto. Those that are not, accommodated, uncomfortable with the decisions in APC. And so the crisis might be much more than the one you will see in APC, because, you have... a lot of people...
The presidential field of the APC has been narrowed down.
That has been narrowed down. So if those that will remain are those that, are okay with the decision, they know that, look, Mr. President, even some might not like it, but they will just have to swallow the bitter pill. But those that had left, they left because of what, like they say, personal interest, to fulfill their ambition. And some people are still going to go back into the APC if they discover
I was even going to ask you that, because, we are certainly not done with the defection.
No, not at all. Not at all.
After the primaries, we might see.
Yeah, after the primaries also, some people might still move from APC to PDP, and depending on, because also the concentration would be at the National Assembly, because a lot of them would want to come back. And so for those that are wanting to come back, and then some people who wants to move from the states houses of assembly to the National Assembly, there's going to be crisis. And so some of them might move from their current party to smaller parties, or to PDP, or from PDP to APC, or vice versa. And so we're not done with the defections.
What do you make of the ADC? It appears to be the new kid on the block.
Yes.
It has at least, maybe, is it in the Senate or the House of Reps? I know it has... I think it has a member in the Senate.
In the Senate, in the House of Rep or so. Because, for some people, because also, like I said, Nigerians have come of age, and you see this, you remember the red card movement also, saying, look, we are tired with, the old politicians. They are all same of the same. Whether APC, PDP, they are same of the same. So the ADP is pretending... ADC, sorry.
Of Obasanjo.
Is pretending to be the new kid on the block. That, look, we are different from these people. But it's the same pool. It's the same people, a mixture of this and a mixture of that are all moving into. So what I also advise is that Nigerians should also find ways of joining these platforms, because you can't wish them away.
That's true.
You can't wish them away. So now that also they are embracing direct primaries. It will be an opportunity for Nigerians also to go enroll, join these political parties, and then it will be difficult for one person to just sit down and select delegates that would conduct primaries. So you also would have a say on who becomes the candidate of those political parties, rather than sit down and wish that someday Jerry Rawlings will come and just wipe out all of these political parties, and install a new kingdom. That's not going to be possible. It's not going to be possible. So you're going to consistently have the same set of people. They have the money, they've weighed influence, they've tested power, and so they want to consistently remain at the corridors of power. Even some that have left, and then they suddenly realize that, look, there's need to come back. They're going to come back. And so you sit down there and begin to complain, oh, it's the same people. But at every turn, at every poll, you are going to be confronted with these same people to choose from, between the devil and the deep blue sea. And so it's either you join them, and so you have the opportunity of change things from within. So it affords the opportunity to select whether you present the devil or the deep blue sea. So for all you know, you might have opportunity of just having a say and then having a better candidate.
But if I was to ask you to just, in your own thinking, to narrow down the presidential race in the PDP, the race for the presidential ticket in the PDP, who would you narrow it down to?
You see, one thing...
You think it's going to be a straight fight between two people?
You cannot, like I said,
as we speak now, we have...
You can't rule out
Lamido,
the wicked.
You have Saminu Turaki.
In PDP, you have the contenders and the pretenders. For now...
Who would be the pretenders there?
It's people like Sule Lamido, of course.
Sure?
Yes.
That man has been dying for that.
Sule Lamido had been around for a long time.
His billboards are all over the place.
Yeah, but it's not about billboards. It's about Sule Lamido. It's one of those that stayed back. He moved with Sarakis and co, but he stayed back. He stayed back, but when he stayed back, what has been his influence and contribution in the party from the time he stayed back till now? Look at the last Congress they had in Port Harcourt. You saw what happened.
And who else is a pretender?
So you can't...
Saminu Turaki.
Yes. Ordinarily, these are candidates that if people like Saminu Turaki are candidate that if you had a lot of younger minds in the party, you would say would be able to give others a run for their money.
McCarthy is certainly not a pretender.
McCarthy also had led the party at some point.
Yeah.
But
you think he's a pretender?
But another thing you should look at, the candidate, the party, the political party also would look at the influence, the spread that these people have. Apart from that small North Central, whereas even McAfee was the Senate committee, Northwest Senate committee chairman on finance. And for like 4 years, McAfee didn't have a bill to his credit. All of these are going to throw up during the primaries. And so the PDP, if they are truly sure of giving Buhari a run for their money. So I know they are going to put a lot of things in the mix. But McAfee also, to some extent, had a relationship with the Wike faction of the party. So to that extent, you will say they might look, favorably. But when push come to shove, you now begin to look at the spread that he might have.
So it means we might be looking at the other block.
Yes. So you might just be looking at the other block because these are those with fresh blood. Yes, the returnees, and these are those with fresh blood, and they are those with finances. And then for Saraki, for example, Saraki it would be difficult for him. He has an identity problem. One, you can't say that Saraki is a Southerner or a Northerner.
Well, he's from the North Central, so he's a Northerner.
So that's where the problem is. If Saraki picks a running mate from the North, the Southerners are going to say, two Northern candidates. If he picks from the South, the Northerners are going to say, two Southern candidates. So that's one big problem you can't rule out in Nigerian politics. And then for Atiku, the problem is hard with Obasanjo, coupled with his consistently inconsistency would also, be factors that will be considered in. PDP had missed it long ago. Do you know why? I expected that immediately after the election, what these old blocks ought to have done would find a way of grooming successors. Successors who will... still the
same old face.
Yes, successors who will come, apologize to Nigerians for the sins of their fathers, and then find a way of doing it better. And then, mind you, APC The moment APC came on board, the first 2 years, they demarketed PDP. Every bad thing that happened in Nigeria was PDP. It was like all story ending on the head of the tortoise. And so PDP just sat down, folded their hands. We were fighting on leadership while APC were busy demarketing them. And so now, few months to election, you're suddenly waking up, even though Nigerians to a large extent also would wish to have an alternative. But the kind of alternative some of them are talking about is not the alternative that you see, that the PDP is providing. That's where the problem is. And that's where some people also have expected that the ADC would have, be able to provide a viable...
the ADC is the same thing.
It's same set of people.
The people who are running it.
And so my advice to these people would be, after election, don't go back into your cocoon, lock the door, and then expect the Nigerians wait for another 4 years. After the election, the end of one election cycle begins another election cycle. So the moment you take stock of what you didn't do well, and then find a way of consistently engaging the people, remaining in the mind of the people, providing those alternatives. And so at election, they will remember you as somebody who provided a platform, who provided the direction that they should go, and not people who are known to drag powers and money. And that's where the problem is.
Interesting days ahead, no doubt. Very interesting days ahead. We'll wait and see how it all unfolds. Well, for now, Senate President Bukola Saraki has joined the race. It enlarges the coast, so to speak. And when you have too many people jostling for one ticket, it's also a big headache for the party.
Yeah.
And that's, if it's not well managed, it's a recipe
for a crisis. Yes, it might create even an implosion.
It's a recipe for a crisis. It appears everybody wants to be president. Liberal Soshoma, thank you very much for coming on the program.
My pleasure. Always.
Thank you very much for your contributions. Well, that's it on the program. But if you want to watch it again now, it's simple. Just go to our website, tv360nigeria.com. You'll find this program and lots more there. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria. You can as well join us on Google+. It's at TV360 Nigeria. Or like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360 online. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360 Nigeria. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.